Hey everyone, and welcome to my preview of the season opening Bahrain Grand Prix of the 2021 season. Only feels like yesterday since the final Grand Prix of 2020, and now we're looking ahead to the season opening Grand Prix in Bahrain. So a lot to look forward to this year. But before I go on to talk about the Bahrain Grand Prix and a brief look back at pre-season testing. Sadly, we've lost two well-known people within the motorsport world recently. So, firstly, Sabine Schmitz. I don't know too much about Sabine, but what I will say, obviously, I know she was known as the Queen of the Nürburgring, and what she was able to achieve in that fight was quite phenomenal, really. But I know her more from Top Gear, Sabine presenting on Top Gear, and when I did see her on that show. She was very funny. I thought she came across really well. She was well loved and respected by her colleagues, and that was obvious to see when she was on Top Gear. So, my thoughts with Sabine's family and friends at this difficult time. But we also sadly lost the late great Murray Walker. The reason I'm into Formula One now, and the reason I'm still following the sport, is because of Murray. I remember the first race that I saw. It was quite poignant actually. First race I saw was 1996 at Suzuka. Damon Hill being crowned world champion, and that famous quote from Murray Walker. And I've got to stop because I've got a lump in my throat. I'm sure that'll um, live long in the memory for many Formula One fans, including myself. But Murray was well loved. Unfortunately, I never got the opportunity to meet Murray, but I could tell straight away from the people that knew him, the way that he commentated, you could tell that he had such a huge passion for motorsport, for Formula One, and the people that knew him loved him and they really respected him. So Murray will no doubt be missed, and my thoughts and prayers are with Murray's family and friends. But I just want to say a massive thank you to you, Murray, for giving us some fantastic memories and moments that we will never forget. And I just want to thank you for being the person that's made me still following, for me to still have that love for Formula One even now. So Murray Walker, thank you so much for that, and you'll never be forgotten, and there will always only be one Murray Walker. But I know he'll be looking forward to the 2021 season, as many of us will be. And from pre-season testing, it wasn't the most straightforward of pre-season tests for Mercedes. And as we know, they did have their issues, but if there's one team that is going to have setbacks and bounce back from them, it is Mercedes, and you would be a fool to write them off. Look, it wasn't an ideal pre-season test for Mercedes, but even so, it wasn't too bad. No, I think we saw Valtteri top the timing sheets on day two of pre-season tests. But yeah, so it wasn't all too bad for Mercedes, but far from ideal. And I guess if you're going to have gremlins, you'd rather have them in pre-season testing than during the season. So, like I say, you'd be a fool to write off Mercedes. But from pre-season testing, what we did see is that Red Bull are on it. Seems to be that they're on it. So we saw Max Verstappen set the quickest time for in pre-season testing in Bahrain, but the reliability as well seemed to have um, was good for the Red Bull as well. We know that Honda, this will be their final year in Formula One, so they'll be putting everything into this year before they bow out of the sport at the end of 2021. But yeah, now the Red Bull looks really good, and we know that Sergio Perez, will be alongside Max Verstappen this year, which I'm really intrigued to see how that works. I'm not going to lie, I must admit that I do have a soft spot for Checo, especially after he was dumped by McLaren and then found himself at Force India. But in a way, he really has rebuilt his career ever since then. Had a really good time at Force India, then Racing Point. Now Aston Martin now. I still feel that Aston Martin made a mistake in letting Perez go, but even so, we'll come to see whether that decision comes back to haunt Aston Martin. But I'd like to say Checo's now at Red Bull, and I really think uh, he'll give Max a run for his money for sure. I don't think Verstappen will have it all his own way this year in 2021. But I'm looking forward to seeing the dynamic between both those drivers at Red Bull and seeing whether they can actually take the fight to Mercedes, which I think they can. But yeah, I'm really excited about what Red Bull can do this year, as I'm sure many of us are. And hopefully, as a neutral, fingers crossed, we see a really close battle between Red Bull and Mercedes from the start of the season to right to down to the wire at the final race of the season. We know that Red Bull, traditionally they have got off to slow starts, and then as the season has gone on, they've improved. But if they can hit the ground running in Bahrain and put a statement, and for example, win the Grand Prix this weekend and put a statement out like that, then I think it can only be good for the sport and good for the season going forward. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how Red Bull get on this year. But I also think what's going to be intriguing as well is the midfield. So many teams are going to be in that midfield battle now, the likes of McLaren and Aston Martin, although I'm sure both of them will have their eyes on closing the gap with Mercedes and Red Bull this year. But then also Ferrari, they'll be looking to bounce back from what was a very disappointing 2020 season. With Alpine, with the return of Fernando Alonso, you know what you're going to get from Alonso. So I'm intrigued to see how Alpine get on. Then AlphaTauri as well. The signs from pre-season testing look promising for AlphaTauri, and so I think Yuki Tsunoda set second quickest time. And I think for me, what I like to do is I like to look at free practice sessions, and then once those sessions are out of the way in the first opening Grand Prix of the weekend, then that'll give me an idea in terms of potentially what the pecking order could be. So I'm not really um, don't really pay too much attention to the times in pre-season testing, but if it's anything to go by, then AlphaTauri could be in for a strong season, and you never know, could be right up there at the top end of the midfield. So that'll be an interesting uh, aspect of the season. And actually, I've tipped AlphaTauri to be one of the dark horses of this year. So we'll see how that goes. And then you look further back down the grid. So with Alfa Romeo, they've got stability with Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi in their third season as teammates. Stability is not a bad thing. But I'm sure they'll be expecting to be closer to the higher end of the midfield this year. So look, no, obviously it wasn't a straightforward year for AlphaTauri last year. Sorry, Alfa Romeo last year, but even so, I think the signs are one too bad actually in pre-season testing. I think if I remember correctly, Kimi Raikkonen did three race distances on the final day of pre-season testing in Bahrain. And Antonio was even himself said he was generally happy with the car, so it wasn't a bad pre-season testing at all session for Alfa Romeo. So they'll be obviously, as I've just mentioned, they'll want to be in amongst that midfield battle. Can't see them being at the top end, but being within that midfield battle, I'm sure will one of the aims of Alfa Romeo this year. Um, I mentioned about Yuki Tsunoda, so Yuki being one of three rookies this year, so two of them being at Haas with Nikita Mazepin and also Mick Schumacher there as well. Just great to see the Schumacher name back in Formula One, and I'm sure it'll be an emotional time for the Schumacher family to see Mick in Formula One, and I really hope it works out for Mick. And no, really intrigued to see how Nikita gets on as well at Haas as well. Now, putting aside what's happened before, now he'll be looking to, for sure to put that behind him and to look forward and to and to step up and to learn quickly. So really intrigued to see how Haas get on this season. I do fear that because they are not going to, they've already said that they're not going to have too many updates on this year's car, so it could be a year of struggle for Haas. But they'll also have one eye on 2022 as well. So yeah, really intrigued to see how Haas get on, and at Williams as well there seems to be a lot of optimism at the team. Obviously now with Dawson Capital leading the team, also new financial backing. They've made some changes at the senior level, but also they've got that continuity as well with Simon Roberts continuing as team principal Williams, and also with driver lineup as well with George Russell alongside Nicholas Latifi. I'm sure George potentially could be having one eye on that Mercedes seat for 2022, but even so, George will still want to have a good year with Williams, and he'll also want to score points as well, as the team will be. Again, I made a prediction that Williams will finish eighth in the constructors, and I stand by that. I think Williams, everything. I think everything is there now for them to actually get into that midfield battle at least, and then for them to hopefully to build on that. And I really hope Williams get right. There's a time where we see Williams right at the sharp end of um, Formula One, because as I mentioned at the start, Williams, when I first started watching Formula One, it's around that 90s era where Williams were one of the top teams in Formula One. So hopefully we can get back to seeing Williams at the sharp end of the field where they should be. So yeah, a lot to look forward to in 2021. I can't wait, and I'm sure a lot of Formula One fans out there are really looking forward to the new season. And yeah, bring it on. So, just want to end once again by paying my respects. My thoughts and prayers are with the families and friends of Sabine Schmitz and Murray Walker, who are sadly no longer with us. And rest in peace, Sabine and Murray Walker. Take care, everyone, and wish you all and hope you all enjoy the 2021 Formula One season. Take care, everyone.